Welcome to our online training. Within this training, we will discuss the options of the application options within the Metastock end-of-day software, as well as Metastock Professional for intraday. We will also cover the default color and styles information in the Tools drop-down menu. Today's training is designed to instruct in some of the basics of Metastock and the Downloader program. We will provide some guidelines for using certain features within the software. However, nothing presented in this training is intended as or should be construed to be a recommendation to buy or sell any specific security. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risks inherent in trading. Equus shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of their software, any trading strategies, or any information provided in connection with the company. At the conclusion of this training module, you should understand how to customize the application options within Metastock End of Day, how to customize the application options within Metastock Professional, how to change default color and styles for indicators, line studies, and text symbols. There are two types of data Metastock software can work with. Metastock End of Day works with end of day data, and Metastock Professional works with intraday data and end of day data. We will begin by going over the Metastock End of Day application properties. The options within the two programs do share some similarities between them, but the Metastock Professional has certain features specifically for intraday data that are not used in Metastock End of Day. To start, we will open Metastock End of Day. To get to the application properties, select Tools and Options. There are 6 tabs within the application properties for Metastock End of Day. We will begin with the General tab and discuss all the options within each tab presented. Under the General tab, there are settings for Workspace, Drawing, and Symbols. Under Workspace, the first option is Restore Workspace on Startup. When this option is enabled, any charts that were left opened when Metastock is shut down will automatically open when you relaunch Metastock. The second option is Display Status Bar. With this checked, Metastock will display the status bar at the bottom of the software. If the option is unchecked, there will be no status bar displayed. The last option under Workspace is Enable Integrated Browser. When this option is checked, it will open the default browser within the Metastock software. Under the Drawing option, there is an option to confirm the deletion of objects. With this checked, any object selected for deletion within a chart will have a text box to confirm the deletion of that object. The other option is Return to Select Mode after drawing. This option will return the mouse to selection mode after drawing a line study if checked. The last section under the General tab is Symbols. The only option here is to allow mixed case ticker symbols. Check this box to allow upper and lowercase characters when creating new securities or adding new symbols to the symbol database. Mixed case symbols are required by some data vendors. The Defaults button will restore the settings for this page to the initial settings. The File Locations tab is where Metastock is pointing to access the Downloader program and option scope. These file locations will be set to the default installation path for those programs. You can select the Browse button to change or modify the location Metastock will look to locate these items. The Default button will restore the settings for this page to the initial settings. Under the Chart Options tab, there are 3 sections listed that cover the Display, Data, and Change Security. The Display option allows you to customize different displays globally for all of your charts. Show all chart title bars and show all chart toolbars are only available if there is a chart opened in the background. If these are checked, it will show all title and toolbar information within all charts. Chart Tips allows quick display of values for a particular plot without evoking any special commands. Check Chart Tips to display a value box next to the mouse pointer. By simply positioning the mouse over a plot, like a price bar, an indicator, or a moving average, and holding the mouse pointer motionless for a second or so, a chart tip displays, giving information about the plot. By placing a check mark in P and F boxes stay square, it will make point and figure charting exactly square where the X and O boxes reside. However, the advantage of leaving the box blank is that the point and figure charts will utilize chart space much more efficiently. Scroll rescales y-axis. Mark this box if you want the y-axis to automatically rescale when moving through data using the chart's scroll bar. Checking this box will slow down the scrolling somewhat. However, you can leave this box unchecked and manually rescale the y-axis using the Rescale Y-axis button on the chart toolbar. Show Empty Holiday and Show Empty Weekends will place a blank spot on the chart for weekends and holidays. Under the Data section is Ignore Weekend Data. By checking this option, Metastock will automatically ignore any data after Saturday at 12:01 a.m. to Sunday 11:59 p.m. If trading a currency or stock in other countries that trade during the weekend, do not check this box. The last section is Change Security. Under this section, there is one of two options you need to select. Select either Use Smart Charts or Use Chart as Template. Select Use Smart Chart to load the Smart Chart for the symbol rather than retaining the previous chart's configuration when using the Change Security command. Select Use Chart as Template to retain the configuration from the original chart rather than accessing the Smart Chart when using the Change Security command. If selecting Use Chart as Template, place a check mark in Keep Line Studies to keep the same line studies when using Next Security to cycle through charts. Also, placing a check mark in Change All Charts and Layout will change all the charts within your layout when using Next Security to view the next symbol. The Defaults button will restore the settings for this page to the initial settings. Under the Trading tab, there are some of the built-in brokers linked with Metastock. This tab simply allows you the ability to set Metastock up so it can open specific programs or websites. Under the Reuters Data Link tab, we'll list the different options for Reuters Data Link as the data vendor. There are 3 sections listed here as well: Network, Smart Charts, and Online Cache. Under the Network section is where you insert user ID and password for Reuters Data Link. Also, there is a way to change the timeout. By placing a check mark and automatically display messages when they arrive will ensure that if Metastock or Reuters Data Link sends information about billing or technical issues, Metastock will receive those messages and will display them to you. Under the Smart Chart section is Use the same Smart Chart for intraday and end-of-day data, and this will be grayed out for Metastock end-of-day. This is because the end-of-day software is not designed to work with intraday. The last section is Online Cache. The Cache folder box displays where the Data on Demand cache folder is located on the hard drive. The Online Cache folder is much like a temporary intranet folders, where it stores any data received from the data provider. Limit cache to 1,000 securities is the default of the Online Cache folder. We recommend not changing that number. By clicking on the Advanced button, this will give the ability to change the internet address of the data vendor and the port numbers to be used. This should only be changed if asked to do so by technical support. The Defaults button will restore the settings for this page to the initial settings. The last tab in Application Options is User Info. By clicking here, the only box is Name. Whatever name was entered during the installation of Metastock will appear here. Simply changing the name here will not change the name showing up on the splash screen when you launch the Metastock program. Many of the application options within Metastock Professional are the same as the ones displayed within Metastock End of Day. To view the application options within Metastock Professional, go to Tools and Options. In this window, there will be some similar tabs. The tabs General, File Locations, Chart Options, User Info, and Trading are all the same within the Metastock End of Day software. We will cover the tabs and options specific to Metastock Professional. The Quote Center tab has 3 sections listed. Network, Smart Charts, and Online Cache are primarily the same as the Reuters Data Link tabs in Metastock End of Day. The only difference is that they are specific for Quote Center's data feed, not Reuters Data Link. Under the Network section, it allows us to adjust the timeout after so many seconds of trying to make a connection to the data vendor server. Under the Smart Chart section, there's the option to use the same Smart Chart for intraday and end-of-day data. By placing a check mark in this option, it allows the intraday and end-of-day data to use the same Smart Chart. For example, an IBM Smart Chart would look the same for end-of-day or daily data as well as for intraday data. Under the Online Cache section, this is the location on the hard drive where the Data on Demand cache folder resides. This is the default location placed by the system. We recommend not changing the location of this folder. Also, in Limit Cache to Blank Securities, limits how many securities the online cache will hold before it begins to automatically dump out the oldest symbols. With the option to keep unopened intraday securities in cache for blank days, you can decide how long unopened securities remain in the online cache folder. The Defaults button will restore the settings for this page to the initial settings. Under the Real-Time tab is the option to alter how real-time data is received. The first time opening this tab, it will be displayed like this. The box to enable real-time will be checked, and Metastock Professional will automatically receive intraday data for the symbols. If this box is not checked, you will no longer receive intraday data from your data vendor. The data will not be real-time unless you sign up for the required exchanges and sign the exchange agreements. Once Enable Real-Time is checked, there will be other options that Metastock Professional can do. By checking Enable Live Bars, this allows Metastock Professional to reflect the incoming real-time tick prices, which means your current bar's close will update with each tick. For example, if this is left unchecked, a bar will not appear until the end of the specified interval, such as 1 minute or 5 minute or hourly. The Recalculate Expert Live option enables live bars. Recalculate Expert Live will make sure the expert advisor that it is attached to the chart is continuously recalculated with every tick. The Update Commentary On option is used to select how the commentary will be updated. The 3 options are on the completed bar, with each tick, or on a refresh. The Defaults button will restore the settings for this page back to the initial settings. The maximum number of records in an intraday chart is where the number of bars that a chart can display will be entered. If the number of bars exceeds this number, the oldest bar will automatically be removed from the cache folder. However, data is not actually lost. Metastock stores all data to the security files. By clicking on Configure Server, a new window opens. This window is for the Equus real-time configuration and gives more advanced features for the real-time configuration of Metastock Professional. Within this window, there is 4 tabs. The tabs are Data Options, File Locations, Data Vendor, and Server Options. Within the Data Options tab, there are 2 sections listed: Price Bars and Date and Time. Under the Price Bars section, there are options that we can change. To place a lag time for the last bar, place a value in last bar lag time minutes. This will display the lag in only minutes and not in bars if using tick data. If generate bars for intervals with no trades is checked, flat bars will be displayed for time intervals during which there are no trades. Check Replace Vendor Trade Volume with Calculated Change in Total Volume to display volume as the change in volume since the previously reported value. If unchecked, the volume displayed is the volume as reported by the data vendor for the current trade. Under Date and Time section, we have the ability to alter the date and time of the data being received from the data vendor. We recommend leaving this information at the default settings. The File Updates page controls the folders where the Metastock file server is maintaining local real-time data. This Folders with Metastock Intraday Data list shows all the folders that the Metastock file server is currently maintaining. All intraday data files in these folders will be updated with data while the file server application is running. The Add button allows the process of adding a new folder to the list. Just click Add and either type in the location to the folder or browse to the location of the folder to add. Then click OK. If the file server is running, it will automatically start updating the intraday files contained in the new folder. If the file server is not currently running, it will begin updating the files in the folder when the application is started. The Remove button allows the removal of folders from the list. Highlight the folder to remove and click Remove. If the file server is running, it will automatically stop updating all intraday securities contained in the removed folder. While it is possible to add and remove these folders when the file server is running, it is not suggested that this be done on a regular basis. The CPU time required by the file server to add and remove a folder on the fly is significant. The maximum number of records that Metastock Professional can write to an intraday file is 65,500. The minimum value for this option is 5,000. Next to max number of records to store in intraday files, change the number to maximize the performance of Metastock Professional. To conserve hard disk space, or if the performance of the datasheet is poor, then you may want to lower this value. If during normal operation this maximum value is reached, Metastock Professional removes 10% of the oldest records to make space for the new records. Under the Data Vendor tab is where the location of the data vendor's DLL file is listed. This should not be modified. The last tab is Server Options. This last tab has 2 sections listed within: Equus Data Server and Metastock File Server. This is where to customize the server windows for the data and file servers in Metastock. Under Equus Data Server, place a check mark in Minimize Main Window, and the data server's window will automatically be minimized and not run on the desktop. Also, by placing a check mark in Terminate if no clients attached, and the Equus Data Server application will automatically shut itself down when it detects that there are no client applications attached. The Equus Data Server application is a multi-threaded application that runs in the background. The radio button of Normal Priority and High Priority allow the ability to change the priority of this background operation. Normally, the data server should run at a high priority. This ensures that the application has as much CPU time as possible to keep up with the real-time data flow from the data vendor. Under Metastock File Server, place a check mark in Minimize Main Window, and the File Server window will automatically be minimized and not run on the desktop. Just like the radio buttons for the Equus Data Server, the radio buttons for normal priority and high priority allow the ability to change the priority of this background operation. Normally, the file server should run at high priority. This ensures that the application has as much CPU time as possible to keep up with the real-time data flow from the data vendor. The next tab within Application Properties is the Alerts tab. There is only two ways to send alerts, via email or through a pager. To send alerts used with the Expert Advisor to an email address, place a check mark in Allow Email Alerts, and specify the email address to send the alert to. To notify multiple email addresses, create a mailing list in your email program, then enter the mailing list in this box. The address book from the MAPI compliant email program will be displayed when clicking the address book button. Check the Allow Pager Alerts box to enable pager notifications when an Expert Advisor is triggered. If there is a voicemail or any voice prompt on the pager system for your pager, this option will not work. Currently, Metastock Professional does not have the ability to send an Expert Advisor alert directly to a cell phone. There is the ability, however, to send the alert to an email address and have the email alert your cell phone. To set this up would be done through the email client that you use. To save and apply any of the information that was configured within the application properties, click OK. We will now cover the default color and styles within the Tools drop-down menu. This option gives the ability to change the default color and styles of line studies, indicators, and symbols within Metastock and Metastock Professional. To find the default color and styles properties, go to Tools and click on Default Colors and Styles. There are three tabs to choose from within the Default Colors and Styles window. We will start with the Indicator tab. Next to Color, click on the drop-down menu for the list of colors to choose from. This selects the default colors for any indicator. If the color that you seek is not listed in the default button, click on More Colors and add the custom color. Click on OK to save the changes. To change the style, click on the radio button next to Style and choose the style of line to be displayed as the default for all indicators. To change the thickness of the style, click on the drop-down menu. This changes the weight of the line. If using dashed lines, only the thinnest weight will work. All other weights will turn any dashed line into a solid line. When the auto rotate is checked, Metastock automatically chooses different colors for indicators plotted successively in the same inner window. This is particularly useful if you are frequently plot multiple indicators in the same inner windows. The default restores the setting for this page to the initial settings. In the Line Study tabs are the same options for color, style, and weight. They would be selected the same way with the radio buttons, like the default indicator information. The last tab is for text, symbols within Metastock. This tab is for the default information attached to the text and symbols within all of Metastock. To change the font, click on the Font button under Text. This will bring up a font window. Select the desired font and click on OK. A sample of the font will be displayed in the preview below the Font button. To change the size of a symbol, click on the drop-down menu under Symbol. To change the size of the symbol to small, medium, or large, A sample of what the symbol will look like will be displayed in the box below the drop-down list. The Defaults button will restore all the settings in this window to the initial settings. Click OK to save any of the changes. We have now shown the different options within the application properties of Metastock End-of-Day Software and Metastock Professional. We have also explained how to change the default colors and styles for indicators, line studies, and text and symbols. We wish you wonderful success with our outstanding software.